The European Supermetro network. This is called Metropa. The guy who invented it is called Stefan, and I just talked to him. As he's a great visionary, and I love visionaries. Stefan, what is Metropa about?
In general, Metropa is about various things, mainly about the idea of European integration, of course. So this is the political idea behind it. Secondly, the idea of establishing a different way of public mass transportation in Europe besides flights, so aviation and motorized transportation. And thirdly, it's a graphic idea to bring people together, like showing people a plan how Europe could be in some time, and to put a piece of sugar in front of their nose just to follow a certain aim, a certain goal. Because as far as I know, such ideas how to bring European people together on one idea are not that common. We have these 12 yellow stars on blue ground, which kind of symbolize the European Union. But for me, the European Union is just a part of Europe, as for many others too. And so with Metropa, I wanted to put whole Europe and its neighbors on one map, which can be understood easily and which can be displayed easily, which can be kind of scaled in every kind of measure. So these are the basic three ideas about it.
Pretty nice. When I first saw this map, I was on social media, I was stunned because that's just a small image of a metro. But if you look closer, like, oh, Amsterdam, oh, Berlin, oh, okay. And then you make the connection, it's actually, it's a vision, and it's not only a vision, it's possible. It's just about finding those people who pull together on the same rope. So the next question is, what I thought about is, what inspired you to do or to start Metropa? What was the biggest inspiration for you?
It was at the very beginning. It was just a kind of artificial ambition to turn the basic idea into a graphic picture. So I was on the road with a friend from Vienna to Hungary, where he bought some kind of piece of land, and we were traveling like 2 hours. And in these 2 hours, we talked about everything. Like, it was in 2010, and we talked about everything. And suddenly he came up with the idea of the Japanese Shinkansen trains. Yeah. Maybe you know.
I know them, yeah.
Which travel very fast and which transport so many people every day, commuters, travelers, tourists, everybody, for a low price and in a very high speed. And so he was asking how it would be to have something like this in Europe. And this question kind of thrilled me, because of course I know European train networks, like in France, in Germany, Austria, anywhere else. I also used them, these networks, but it was never this global thing. I mean, most of the trains stopped at the border of the next country, and there are different companies, maybe sometimes even different gauges of railway, so you have to change trains and so. But a common European network of trains, in addition, in a super fast way, this idea kind of thrilled me. And so I came back 2 or 3 days later, and I sat down on my desk and I tried out some kind of application on the computer, Illustrator, if you know that. It's a graphic design and application which is quite complicated. And I just started to draw some lines here and there and there. And suddenly I realized it works. So then afterwards I took a kind of atlas, and I took a look at it and put some needles on the map where I could have stations. And suddenly came one pretty nice picture of lines connecting the cities, circle lines and tangential lines, and going from north to south, from east to west, and straight through all this.
And then it just happened. And then you had this great map, and people see it. And I saw a lot of comments, like people saying, "Oh, that's an amazing idea." So I guess, especially those train lovers, people are involved into climate change and want to do something good. I think there's a lot of people, and the number of those people is growing. So my next question, or what I was thinking about in recent days, is how to gain more power in terms of how to connect people with like talents, skills, knowledge, because the solution is there, the vision is there. What is the next step?
First, I want to tell you about that it took some years to really show this to people. But I suddenly, when I first started this to give away the posters and the postcards, that people understand what I mean. So this was a very important point. And it's just 1 year ago that all the social media attention grew and really came also to my mind. And I suddenly noticed, well, people really talk about and think about, and they like it, they discuss it. And so your question was, what's the next step? We are now currently developing social media strategies. We are writing to media, of course, so stakeholders like newspapers and other media formats like TV and so. This is pretty much work because you have to convince people of a picture they do not yet know. And if you put it in an email to send it, then it probably works. But most of the journalists get like hundreds of emails per day, and so this is maybe emerging. But one of the most important next steps is to get in touch with young people. And there I'm really interested in connecting with this Fridays for Future movement, because we have a lot of ideas in common. They focus on the climate issue, and I focus on the integration issue. But our common thing is the sustainability of transport and of reducing emissions with fossil energy. This is what we have in common. So far, it was not possible to really connect with them, because they have a very different structure of workflow and of information and so. And maybe the idea of building something completely new is something which maybe is too much of technique or too much of economy for the Fridays for Future movement, as far as I can see.